We are nestled in the mighty San Gabriel Mountains at the world-famous Rose Bowl, where today, ABC Sports College Football presents a Pac-10 clash between the defending conference champs from Eugene, Oregon, and the UCLA Bruins. UCLA won the toss and has decided to defer. That's Ricky Whittle back for the kickoff. And as usual, Greg Andrusik kicks it into the end zone, as he did all last week against BYU. So, we'll get a look at this Oregon offense first. A look at the starting quarterback, Tony Grazziani, 6'2", 188 pounds. He's a junior. Missed last week's game because of that injury we talked about earlier. Look at his numbers, 322 yards, Todd.
He's a tough kid, and the team has really rallied around him. He only played a little bit last year, but played well every time he's been on the field for the Ducks.
Grazziani back to pass on 1st and 10. He's got good mobility. He can hurt you that way if you're not careful, and he runs out of bounds at the 22-yard line. A look now at the Chili's starting lineups, the backs and receivers. Ricky Whittle, the versatile running back, the tailback for the Ducks. Jelks getting the start at the fullback spot this week, Todd.
Whittle really is a guy who can hurt you inside or outside. He's tough enough to get the inside yards, but has the speed to break the long run anytime.
Matt Johnson getting the start in place of Christian McLemore. There's a close-up look at Ricky Whittle, 5'10" senior. 2nd down, 8 to go. The handoff is to the fullback this time, up the middle to the 24-yard line. Jelks running behind that big, strong, seasoned offensive line. Wiggins, Reed, Gregg, Malapai, and Weber. Malapai, he's a pretty big load, isn't he, Tom?
Yeah, he really is. And, you know, he's the biggest Duck, 340 pounds, but he's got very nimble feet. For a guy that big, he's got great athletic skills, can pull out and lead those sweeps very effectively.
3rd down and 5, 3 wideouts for the Ducks. On their first possession of the ball game, Grazziani back to pass. A little bit of contact, but no flag at the 30-yard line. Incomplete, intended for Josh Wilcox, their big, strong tight end. And the UCLA Bruin defense holds on the first series of the game. Josh Bidwell standing on his own 10-yard line for Oregon. Guidry on his 40. So you would think the Bruins would get good field position after this punt. The kicking game has been an adventure for Oregon. And I'm flattering them when I say that. They get a fortuitous bounce down to the 33-yard line. Here at the Rose Bowl. Zeros on the scoreboard. 14:02 remaining in the first quarter. And there's a look at Cade McNown, true freshman quarterback for UCLA. Last week, 9 of 18 for 91 yards in a victory against BYU. He performed in relief. And here's a look at Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, formerly Sharman Shaw of the UCLA Bruins. For the UCLA Bruins, Kevin Jordan, their All-American wide receiver, coming into this game, Todd, with some question marks about his health.
Well, he had 73 catches last year, but he hurt his knee in the USC game, had off-season surgery, and he is not really back 100%. Still their main guy, but not 100%.
A quick 3-step drop, complete at the 44-yard line to the guy we were just talking about, Kevin Jordan, out of Beltsville, Maryland. Kenny Wheaton providing the coverage, one of the corners for Oregon.
They're going to measure this, but that's a good, safe kind of play for McNown to get him off to a good start. Take a look at the ISO, working on Kenny Wheaton. We mentioned the great corner play between Wheaton and Alex Molden for Oregon. They will challenge these receivers all day.
And it is a Bruin first down. So they move the ball on their first possession. A look at the offensive line for the UCLA Bruins. Mike Flanagan, a guy who is really impressive when you watch him perform.
Well, Jonathan Ogden, the left tackle, is an NFL first-rounder. Mike Flanagan, the center, really has quick feet. They use him a lot pulling out in front of sweeps. You don't see many centers in the country leading on sweep plays. 2
tights and 2 wideouts. Play action, McNown to pass on the waggle. Completes it to the tight end, Brian Richards, and he is going to gain about 7 yards on 1st and 10. Up front at Gang Green, Bailey, Jackson, and Schmidt.
No real overpowering guys on that defensive front for Oregon. They all play well within the system, a bunch of overachieving type guys. But the key to the Oregon defense, their ability to play as an 11-man unit.
And they have 7 returning starters from a year ago defensively. 2nd down. This is Jabbar, and Jabbar has another UCLA first down at the 43-yard line. Now, one of the strengths, Todd, of this Oregon defensive unit are their linebackers.
Yeah, the two inside guys are really good complements for each other. Rich Rule, real tough inside guy, holds his position. Jeremy Asher, he's more the active guy, has great speed, flies around a lot, makes a lot of plays, both over 100 tackles a year ago.
Freshman quarterback Cade McNown leading the way for UCLA. Here's Jabbar again, running with authority between the tackles that time, plowing his way down to the 40-yard line. Look at the seasoned and very skilled defensive backfield for Oregon. Molden on the corner, one of the best in the conference.
Mark, this last play is exactly what defensive coordinator Charlie Waters was fearful of, and that was UCLA lining up in two tight ends and just pushing their defensive line off the ball. And UCLA has the great offensive line, and so far in this ball game, one back, two tight ends are really trying to punish this front four or front three of Oregon.
This is Jabbar again, cutting it back against the grain. A late flag, may have been a face mask.
Yeah, they're going to get Kevin Jordan, I think, for the clip on Kenny Wheaton. Wheaton, the cornerback, is a great football player. As you take a look at it again, it's a cutback run, a design cutback as Jabbar breaks it back. Now, right there in the top of your screen, there it was, the cutback block on Kenny Wheaton. Wheaton is a guy who has a great feel for the game. He makes big plays. He was not a starter last year, Mark, but he made more big plays per amount of downs that he was on the field than anyone else on the football team.
Todd, let's take a look at some of the keys for the victories for the respective teams today.
Well, I think the game comes down to UCLA's pass defense against Oregon's run defense. Turnover margin, UCLA has done a great job of that this year. And is there an advantage in the special teams?
Play action, McNown looking up top. And he overthrows Kevin Jordan at the 5-yard line. Good coverage that time by Molden.
We talked about the corners for Oregon, Alex Molden and Kenny Wheaton. Molden really the prototype. He has the great speed and explosiveness. You need two things to be a great corner, I think. You need to have supreme confidence in yourself and suffer from short-term memory loss, because you've got to be able to put bad plays away. Last week, Molden was beat for a touchdown early in that ball game against Illinois. He shook it off and shut down Jason Dulick the rest of the football game.
Attitude a big key when you're playing that position. 6 DBs in now for the Ducks. Little dime package defensively on 3rd and 17. Almost, yes, it is picked off. Kenny Wheaton has the interception for Oregon. They had 2 shots at the pick and got it on the second one. Not sure where or who McNown was trying to find, but he threw it right into traffic.
Take a look from the end zone now. The dime defense is really the strength of Oregon. McNown has good protection, but he threw it was too much lead. Trying to throw to the in route, too much lead to his receiver. Figueres got the tip, and Wheaton again with another big play for this Oregon defense. He knows how to get to the football, and he makes big plays game in and game out.
And Figueres right around the ball again with a big play. Last week he won it against Illinois for Oregon with a big hit and fumble recovery in the end zone. The pass complete to Pat Johnson that time, and an Oregon first down at the Bruin 42-yard line, a pickup of 20 yards. Pat Johnson with speed to burn.
Yeah, nice combination route. 2 receivers to the same side. They sent the 1 receiver deep. Johnson broke it to the outside, and you could see the strong safety Wokey late in getting over for coverage. Nice job using the 2 receivers, running 1 deep, running the other to the sideline.
Good-looking ball thrown that time by Grazziani. Trips right formation this time for Oregon. Single back set. In the flat to Ricky Whittle, complete. He runs out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Tommy Bennett, linebacker, pushing him out of bounds.
Real different look that time. 3 wide receivers, and what they put all the receivers over to the one side, and then they take the tight end here, Wilcox, and come off and also go off with the back. It's a little option route to the tailback. They try to fool the defense by sending all the wide receivers one side, run an option route to the back.
Backs are split. This is Whittle trying to get to the corner. Got part of the way there and is hauled down at the 38-yard line by Paul Guidry, the junior cornerback for UCLA.
Ricky Whittle is really a talented running back. You know, he split time last year with Dino Filio, and really I don't think he had a chance to really emerge. I think this year being the feature back, Whittle is really going to have an outstanding season for the Ducks.
But Arkansas with a big win for Danny Ford and his crew against Alabama. Quick drop. Pass complete to Pat Johnson. Johnson, I was talking about just moments ago, possessing fantastic speed, finished 8th in the NCAA men's 100-meter final. He's actually a better 400-meter runner.
Nice little pick play. Everybody has their own version of the pick play. That time Oregon in with a 2 tight end package. They ran a little pick, inside and outside receiver, and sprung Johnson for the easy first down.
Did you say pick? That's illegal, isn't it? Johnson with 2 receptions, a total of 28 yards. 10-11 remaining in the first quarter. Oregon on its second possession of the ball game. The draw. This is Jelks. Jelks lowering his hat and powering his way down to the 19-yard line. And he's close to another Oregon first down. The tackle made by Wokey. Jelks getting a promotion this week, getting the start at fullback.
Here's Tassi Malapei, the big offensive guard, 340 pounds. Watch as they run the draw right behind Tassi. Nice little, takes his man all the way to the inside, right past the runner. AJ Jelks, 240-pound fullback. You got to give that fullback the ball a couple times so he'll keep blocking for Whittle.
There he is again, and he got popped. Let's take a look at that UCLA defense. Up front, Ward, Kershke, Stretz, and Vi Tata. They need to get a little bit of pressure, Todd, you would think, on Grazziani.
Yeah, their front 4 rush has been very average. When we talked to Coach Bob Field, the defensive coordinator, he said it wasn't that impressive, but the linebacker's really strong. You've got Donnie Edwards moved into the middle last week against BYU. He is an electrifying player.
Well, the player's shaken up for the UCLA Bruins, and still down at the 17-yard line is Donnie Edwards, the All-American candidate and the Butkus candidate as well, an impact player for that squad.
Take a look at this play again. Edwards is right here, the middle linebacker. They put him in that position so he can run both sides of the field and make plays. He's going to make a terrific hit on the fullback Jelks. Watch him read the play, and he kind of goes in there head first. Now Jelks is a 245-pound guy. That's a lot of shock right there on that kind of a hit. Another shot of it. You can see a good tackle by Edwards, but he led with his head. And the good news is he's walking off the field, and that's good for him, and it's good for UCLA because he is an impact player for this UCLA defense.
Split backs. 2 wide receivers out for the Ducks. The give is to Jelks, getting a lot of work and has a lot of real estate ahead of him. Touchdown, Oregon. AJ Jelks finding the end zone. An 18-yard scamper for the touchdown.
Nice job mixing up the play so far by offensive coordinator Al Borges. The counter trap, the guard kicks out, the tackle leads through and seals off the inside linebacker, and AJ Jelks takes it to the end zone. Brian Wilmer in there at the middle linebacker right now for Donnie Edwards. He got blocked to the inside by the tackle, and a nice job by Jelks finding the end zone.
Now their kicking game, Todd, as I mentioned earlier, a big question mark. Joshua Smith in for the extra point, and he knocks it through.
Oregon's offense continued to move the ball. With 2 minutes 46 seconds in the first quarter, quarterback Tony Grazziani connected on a 22-yard touchdown pass to tight end Josh Wilcox to make the score 14-0 Ducks. UCLA got on the board when place kicker Bjorn Merton nailed an 18-yard field goal through the uprights, making the score 14-3 with 12:51 remaining in the second quarter. Oregon proved why they were 1994 Pac-10 champions when speedster Ricky Whittle scampered 11 yards for a touchdown with 5 minutes 20 seconds left to play in the half, increasing the University of Oregon's lead to 21-3. But UCLA was not about to lie down. With 2:27 left in the second quarter, backup quarterback Rob Walker went deep to Derek Ayers for a 41-yard touchdown bomb, making the score 21-10 Ducks over the Bruins.
Hey, Oregon can get a score on the board with 32 seconds to play here in the first half. Ball on the 50-yard line, first down. Grazziani passing, complete. McLemore steps out of bounds, first down, stopping the clock.
You know, the one problem, though, that we haven't really addressed is Matt Belden last year was the starting punter and kicker for Oregon. He hurt his leg in the opening game. He pulled a thigh muscle, as you take a look at the catch by McLemore at the end of the play. But he pulled a thigh muscle in the opening game against Utah, and he's been replaced by 3 very untested guys. Right now you got Josh Bidwell, the punter, You've got Joshua Smith as a kicker who wasn't even supposed to be in school for another week, but he is the starting kicker now for the Ducks.
He may get a chance to kick one here. The pass complete to the near sideline to Pat Johnson, who made a key play on that punt return, and the clock stops as he gets out of bounds. 21 seconds to play in the ball game in the first half. Back to that kicking story for Oregon. You said he wasn't supposed to be in school,
right,
Smith, for another month. He won the job after Belotti bet him 100 push-ups so he could make a 45-yard field goal during the audition. And, you know, he says that the coach still owes him a few push-ups. That's Johnson in motion. 3 wideouts for the Ducks. Grazziani to pass on the screen. They set it up to Whittle. Makes a nice move and gets out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Good clock management by the Ducks.
Yeah, really good work by Whittle. First to avoid the tackle by Sean Williams, the free safety, and then knowing to get out of bounds. As you take a look at Joshua Smith, and to follow up on that, you know, last week they used 3 kickers to replace 1. They used Bidwell as a punter, they used Joshua Smith as the place kicker, and they used Matt Brewer as the kickoff. But in the away game, Pac-10 rules say you can only travel 60 players. So they left Brewer in Eugene, and this is the first game that Joshua Smith is acting as both the place kicker and the kickoff guy. So that's really kind of an untested part of this Oregon football team. Looks like we're going to get a chance to see Smith here right at the end of the half.
Grazziani may take a shot at the end zone before that. The junior under pressure, stepping up. Time winding down into the end zone. Incomplete, intended for McLemore. Pretty much threw that one away. 5 seconds to go now in the first half. And here comes Josh Smith with his first field goal attempt of his collegiate career. He was sitting at home on the couch with his folks watching television when the Oregon coaches called him and said, how'd you like to come to school now? This is coming out of the hold of the backup quarterback, Ryan Perry-Smith. A field goal from 39 yards out. And it's good. He nails it. The first of his career is a good one. And Oregon takes a 24-10 lead into the locker room at halftime, silencing this crowd at the Rose Bowl.
And Cade McNown will be the starting quarterback in the third period. He said that his quarterback was a little bit rattled, moving a little too fast. And Todd, you can relate. When you get that first start, I don't care how prepared you are and how good you are, sometimes you're just in fast motion. You got to slow it down a little bit. That's what Toledo's concerned with. They're going back with Cade now.
All right. I think it was a good move, really, and you could see Terry Donahue just kind of take him aside and help him watch the plays, and I think we'll see a much more relaxed Cade McNown in the second half.
And McElroy is not going to let anybody relax. He puts the pressure on the Oregon special teams, running it out to the 46-yard line, giving the Bruins good field position. A 36-yard kickoff return. The tackle made by Woods. Look back at our game stories, Tom.
Well, you can see UCLA's pass defense. They gave up 129 yards. The best news for Oregon, they stopped the running game in that first half, only 95 yards. Turnovers, UCLA usually had been strong this year. They're on the downside of that in this ball game. And special teams, starting field position for Oregon, the 39, UCLA their own 28, but a big play, a second big kickoff return in this ball game by McElroy right now gives UCLA great starting position here to start the third period.
And Todd, we have an injured Bruin player down on the field, a picture that Terry Donahue has seen far too often in the 1995 season. But the Bruins, there's a look at it, it's Vi Tata, the injured player down in the field. Look at the first half possessions for UCLA. Very much unproductive, and you know, as we look at Tata down on the field for the Bruins, a couple of impact players bitten by the injury bug today.
Well, they can ill afford to lose Vi Tata because they already have replaced him in the starting lineup for Danwan McGee, who was the starting defensive end. He's out with a knee injury.
Well, back comes the freshman, Cade McNown at quarterback. He's 5 of 13 for 34 yards and 1 interception in the first half. That's Jordan in motion. The handoff is to Abdul Jabbar, running with authority near a first down at the 45-yard line. Tackle made by Jensen and Asher.
Dating back to last year, that's his 6th consecutive 100-yard game. He finished the season last year with 3 consecutive, and now to open the 95 campaign, 3 straight 100-yard games. He is a talented running back.
Out of the ace formation, Jabbar again on 2nd and short, gets the first down. You know, you look at the type of depth that they have. We haven't talked that much about Skip Hicks, who led the team in rushing as a freshman, was injured last year, made a miraculous comeback in a matter of months after major knee surgery, and he is pretty much close to being ready to play right now, too.
Yeah, he got to practice 3 days. He tore his ACL before last year, battled back, and then he got hurt right before fall camp started with it and had to get scope surgery. So he's fighting his way back, so they're really limited when they're tailback position right now.
And Massey is the tailback, and he gets the carry here. Massey, a 5'10", 185-pound junior. Check that. That was James Milliner, who got the tights and 2 wideouts. Single back set for McNown. Out of the option. Keeps it himself. Won't go down. McNown goes down at the 33-yard line. Tackled by Jeremy Asher. You know, McNown isn't your typical quarterback cream puff. Nothing personal, Todd. He threw the discus 142 feet, 48-foot shot putter, and a 15-foot pole vaulter in high school. So he does have that athletic ability. Jabbar back in the game at tailback. Running hard, his forward progress will take him to the 28-yard line, and that's another Bruin first down.
Good situation right now after another nice first down by UCLA. Maybe they try to go for a big play. Might be a good situation to try to run a reverse or a play action pass for a long touchdown. Watch Jeremy Asher on the replay. Gets blocked off in there. Nice job on the inside. Chad Overhauser, the right guard, gets a good block on Asher, and an easy first down for Abdul-Jabbar. But a good opportunity right here to go for a big play.
The Bruins on their first possession of the second half. Jabbar trashed at the 32-yard line by Troy Bailey. Really knifed through the hole to make the stop behind the line of scrimmage. It'll be a loss of about 2 yards on the Roy. Split to the top of your screen. Jordan to the bottom. Movement and a flag. There was movement on the right side.
Bailey giveth and he taketh away. He made a big play the play before. That time he jumped offside.
Prior to the snap, dead ball. Contact by the defense. Offense. 5 yards. Second down.
Watch the top of your screen. Bailey going on the quarterback's voice, not the movement of the football. And again, alert play by the center, Mike Flanagan. He saw the offsides and snapped the ball to his quarterback.
Second time we've seen the Bruins do that to Oregon today. 11.5 to play in the third quarter. On the counter tray, Milliner brought down behind the line of scrimmage. Jeremy Asher, yes, he is underrated. Yes, he does have skills. He can play. 18 tackles a week ago against Illinois. A tackle for loss there.
That was a great read again, but making a quick read. Asher, watch him on the right side of your screen. As soon as he reads the counter trap, he runs right behind the pulling tackle, Jonathan Ogden. Nobody was there to make a block on him, and a tackle behind the line of scrimmage. He read the pulling guard and tackle and shot in there for the big play.
Third down and long. 3rd and 12. Type of situations that Oregon defensively loves. McNown scrambling under pressure and thrown out of bounds at the 31-yard line. So they respond once again, Oregon does, on 3rd down situations.
I can't stress to you enough how good this Oregon defense is in definite passing situations. They're not a big defense. They're not an overpowering defense. But when they can put you into situations where they can give you the different looks and they can play the dime defense, they are as good as anybody there is in the country. They really create a lot of confusion with the looks and the things that they can do with their dime defense.
It'll be about a 50-yard field goal if they elected to go for it. Saylor will try and pooch this one or aim for the coffin corner. And he gets it. It's out of bounds at the 2-yard line. 24-10. We'll be right back.
Take a look at the first half possessions of Oregon. Pretty much every other one they did something good. The only one that stands out, that fumble right there, that was the only really mistake that Oregon had offensively. Good execution and protecting the football.
Grazziani starting the offense on the 2-yard line. You know, Grazziani has said from time to time that one of the inspirations for him was Danny O'Neill, the former quarterback at Oregon, and he still occasionally talks to O'Neill and takes some tutoring from him and talks about certain situations, and the two of them really shared a very special friendship while they were both in Eugene.
Danny O'Neal, a very productive 4-year starter for Oregon. That's why Grazziani has not had much playing experience, because Danny O'Neal started for 4 years, and he went through the hard times and was able to experience some of the good times at the end of his career.
Good tradition of quarterbacks at the University of Oregon. That's Whittle. Fumble, and the Bruins have it. Whittle put it on the ground, and UCLA got some room service at the 3-yard line.
Ricky Whittle had 2 fumbles last week that cost his team both times. Again, nowhere to go on the run. Looks like he has the ball covered pretty well, but a nice job by Phillip Ward, number 97, comes in and makes the tackle, and with that big right arm just stripped the ball out.
UCLA in their hippo package, their hippo formation. Jabbar gets the call. Tough yardage down to the 3. Gained about 1 on that play. McNown will never be mistaken for Tommy Frazier on the option, but he does have good option skills. He has decent speed.
Yeah, he's a good athlete, and he's got good awareness on the football field.
2nd and goal for the Bruins. Here's the option. McNown fighting hard. Does he get in? Still no signal. Still waiting. And they're going to mark. Touchdown Bruins. Better late than never if you're a Bruin fan.
Yeah, late signal. It looked to me from up here that he made it. Watch Cade McNown. They come with the option away from their 2 tight end strength. Down to the end of the line. Gets a good block by the backup tight end Jamal Clark, number 96. And then good strength and effort by Cade McNown. Gets the ball into the end zone.
Finding the end zone for the Bruins. Merton in for the extra point, and it's a 24-17 ball game. You couldn't have written a better Hollywood script for the Bruins in the 3rd quarter. They score on their 2nd possession. 1 touchdown separates both. Talking just moments ago about former quarterback Danny O'Neal tutoring Grazziani. This is Whittle. You can sense that the Bruins are a little bit charged up. And Grazziani will start the offense at the 18-yard line. But the guy who was his predecessor, Danny O'Neal, had one of his finer moments in the Rose Bowl last year. He was a smooth operator in the pocket. There you see some of his work. The touchdown pass against Penn State. Oregon playing in the Rose Bowl for the first time in a long time. And Dean Blevins is standing by with O'Neal.
Yeah, it was 9 months ago you set records for completion attempts and yardage.
Well, I know. It seems like yesterday, and that was just a great season. It was great to be part of that team.
Hang on, Danny. Let's watch this play, and we'll have a question with you.
1st down and 10. The waggle. Grazziani almost picked off at the 37-yard line. Back to Dean.
What's Grazziani thinking right now?
Well, right now he's just trying to get some more points on the board. They just got the fumble here. They got some easy points, and he just wants to get the offense going, mainly the offensive line, get them going and get a nice drive right now.
Danny, you had a chance to go play in the CFL, decided not to. Bring us up to date.
Well, it's exciting now. I wanted to play pro football, and that opportunity wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, and now I'm teaching high school kids the Word of God. So the fulfillment there is just unbelievable.
All right, thanks a bunch. Good luck.
All right, Dean, thank you.
24-17, the Bruin defense gaining a little momentum here, and that'll slow that momentum. A nice completion to number 15, Hodge, and a 1st down for the Ducks. Teddy Lawrence pushing him out of bounds.
That was a big play that time by Tony Grazziani. This is an offense that, as Danny O'Neal said, really needed to make a couple plays here. A nice throw and catch, Grazziani to Jabbar Hodge for the 1st down.
Pickup of 13 yards, moving the chains for Oregon. Grazziani throwing for 322 yards a couple of games ago against Utah, plus a pair of touchdowns. Had a good week of practice and returning from his injury. Handed off this time. Whittle tripped up in the backfield nicely. Tackle made by Tommy Bennett, who was suspended last year and is now converted into a linebacker, a former safety.
Now, UCLA's defensive coaches, what they did was they went spent some time with Florida State's coaches, defensive coaches this past spring. They made the switch from the 3-4 to the 4-3, and not only did they switch schemes, they switched their personnel. They took Abdul McCullough, who was the strong safety last year, Tommy Bennett, who was a defensive back, and made them both linebackers, as well as moving Donnie Edwards into the middle. So a different scheme and different personnel as well.
They pick the counter. The waggle, oh, a nice hit at the 38-yard line and a flag. It may have been interference.
Yeah, that's a good call, Mark, because Wilcox had not even made a chance to make a catch on the ball, and he was tackled from behind. Now, this ball was actually somewhat carelessly thrown towards the middle of the field by Grazziani and got away with one, but I think a good call by the official.
Pass interference, defense, penalty at the spot of the foul, 1st and 10.
Take a look again on the bootleg. Good pressure again from UCLA, and he just kind of threw that high over the middle, and there's the tackle from behind before the ball got to him, and a favorable call for Oregon, and probably not a great decision on where to throw the football by Grazziani. Ted Wokey, the strong safety, the guilty party there.
UCLA with 5 penalties, totaling 41 yards in the afternoon. 8:05 to play in the 3rd period. And the UCLA defense becoming much more stingy against Ricky Whittle on the running plays.
Whatever Bob Field had to say to his defense in the locker room at halftime, it worked, because the front 4 for UCLA is taking control of the line of scrimmage so far in the 3rd quarter. The first half, they were pretty non-existent. Oregon was able to do what they wanted offensively, but so far here in the 3rd quarter, the front 4 by UCLA really putting pressure on the line of scrimmage.
Every guy having to pick up the intensity just a notch in the absence of the All-American Donnie Edwards. Here they come with the blitz, looking for Whittle, and it's incomplete.
Yeah, good choice, a good decision to come with the blitz at this time. You can see Abdul McCullough right there, number 9. He's going to come unblocked. A clear shot at the quarterback, and Grazziani just had to unload the ball. No chance of a completion there. The quick pressure by Abdul McCullough.
Grazziani with time. Incomplete at midfield. Intended for Jabbar. Bidwell standing on his own 16-yard line. Guidry for UCLA standing on his own 33. Guidry, a very dangerous punt return guy. A low snap, and it's a high spiraling kick. Guidry calling for the fair catch at the 35-yard line. Well, last time, Todd, the UCLA offense didn't have that far to go. They only had to go 3 yards to hit the end zone. This time, they start from 63 yards away. And this is Jabbar trying to get to the corner. He's pushed out of bounds at the 39 by Kenny Wheaton, the corner who came up and provided run support.
Top teams, Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State, they have the toughest schedule of the 3, but an impressive win, it looks like, on the way for the Buckeyes right now.
Ohio State taking on Pitt next week. That's where we'll be. And Cade McNown runs the option once again very well and gets the first down at midfield, pushed out finally by Alex Molden.
See, this is a double option. It's not a triple option. You block the tight end, and you just take your quarterback to the end of the line of scrimmage, and you try to put the last guy on the line defensively for Oregon in a no-win situation. If he takes the pitch, the quarterback keeps it and turns it up inside. If he comes to the quarterback, he's going to pitch the ball to the tailback.
Dean Blevins, what do you see?
Well, guys, I think it's important to note that quarterbacks in that situation don't have to be 4-5 runners. You can be a 4-7 or 4-8 runner, not have the great speed, but make the right decisions and be elusive.
Are you trying to say you can relate to that, Dean?
Well, I wasn't a 4-8 runner.
Hilliner with the carry out to the 46. 6:35 to play in the 3rd quarter. UCLA trailing by 7 points. They scored on their last possession, courtesy of a Ricky Whittle fumble. Right now it's 2nd down, 6 to go. Milner, the lone back. They fake the counter. McNown keeps it and is brought down hard at the 46 by number 58, Derek Barnes, the linebacker.
Great play by Barnes. Great play by Derek Barnes, seeing where this was coming from. The bootleg, they pulled a guard in the tackle. That's the bread and butter running play, the counter trap for UCLA. And Derek Barnes does what he's taught to do. Stay at home. Don't get beat on the backside of the play.
Got to get to the 40-yard line of Oregon. And where has Kevin Jordan been this afternoon? McNown with time and runs it himself, and he's brought down to the 45-yard line. UCLA will have to punt. Reggie Jordan made the tackle.
We talked a lot about the 3rd down defense of the Oregon Ducks. excellent job downfield. Take a look as this play runs. Now 6 defensive backs in the ball game, and watch the coverage. None of the wide receivers for UCLA can find an opening. He's got good enough protection, but there's no open receiver. Great downfield coverage by Oregon.
Oregon coming after the punt. And here's Johnson, who's done a great job on punt returns today. His heady move near the end of the first half allowed them to score that field goal on the last play of the game. A 37-yard punt, 5 on the return. Back in Pasadena, UCLA trailing by a touchdown. Todd, interesting that both teams featured receivers. Gordon for UCLA, McLemore for Oregon. Really conspicuous by their absence so far.
Yeah, and really, I think for Oregon's sake, they need Christian McLemore to step up and make a couple plays for this offense, particularly here in the second half. UCLA has fought and clawed their way back into the game. The momentum is swinging back to the Bruins. McLemore has to show up for the Ducks.
Yeah, turnovers, very much the story, too, for both teams. Grazziani handing it off to Whittle. 4:10 remaining in the period. They fake the flanker screen. Grazziani still looking. And firing. Is it complete or not? Incomplete.
Take a look again at the game stories, and the one that's standing out right now is the turnovers. UCLA back in it at 2-2. That's why the score has evened up closer to 24-17. The turnovers all even on the ball game now.
One of the biggest games of his head coaching career. The winner here would have a leg up on returning January 1st. This is McLemore. We talked about him just moments ago. He put it on the ground, but he's ruled down. Bidwell is standing on his 15-yard line. Oregon gets a decent bounce.
I see a reverse in this series by UCLA. They ran it for a big play against BYU a week ago. They put it in the game plan again this week to go to the opposite side. Look for Derek Ayers on a reverse in this series.
And here comes Jabbar. Brought down to the 41-yard line. He gains 2 yards on the play. It'll be second down and about 8 to go. The tackle made by Derek Allen.
Derek Allen on the stop.
A new coaching staff, and part of the new coaching staff at Oregon is Charlie Waters, former DB for the Dallas Cowboys. Says that it's real refreshing for him at Oregon. Really enjoys the atmosphere.
Yeah, you know, kind of had a rough go the last couple of years in Denver, and has a similar personality to Nick Aliotti, who was a popular defensive coordinator here last year.
McNown keeps it on the option, reading his blockers well. That's why you got to like this freshman. He gets the first down at the 50-yard line, riding the right shoulder of his blocker before finally being brought down by Jeremy Asher and Reggie Jordan.
Not a lot of yardage there. You can see only 14 yards after you take out the sacks, but still effective yardage running the option.
And they run it to the other side this time. They pitch it to Jabbar. Nothing happening that time as Figueres came up from his free safety spot and made the tackle. Figueres made that big play last week to win the game against Illinois for Oregon. And the coaches keep saying that he keeps improving week by week. Still thinking, they say, a bit too much, but playing time will remedy that. Only a sophomore. So with 1:53 to play now in the third quarter.
It's got to be a big game for him, too, because he's from nearby Glendale, California, so a chance to probably play in front of a lot of family and friends as the starting safety for the defending Rose Bowl participants for the Pac-10.
And here is number 42. Oh, they break it. Touchdown Bruins. Skip Hicks comes in the game. Do you believe it? Honey dip Skip. Surprise, surprise. Terry Donahue fooled everyone.
Well, he said he might play, but he only had 3 practices, and you know, it's remarkable that he's been able to recover from knee injuries as quickly as he has. What a return party. First run of the game. He follows a good block by Kevin Jordan. Watch the cut by Skip Hicks, the fresh legs and the breakaway speed. The knee looks fine, Skip. Broke a tackle of Kenny Wheaton. A great run by Skip Hicks. Welcome back to the Bruin offense.
Oh, let me quote the coach on this. Did he not say that it was highly improbable, too, that he might play? It's 24 all. They gave him the option of sitting this year out, too.
Take a look at the inside linebackers of Oregon now. Rich Rule, number 48. Curtis Martin is in there right now for Jeremy Asher. Rule overruns the play. Curtis Moore gets blocked, and Skip Hicks takes it into the end zone after breaking that last tackle by the cornerback, Kenny Wheaton. That's a special play by Skip Hicks.
I'll tell you, it makes Terry Donahue look like a genius, too. Ricky Whittle on the return. It's a tie game at 24 apiece. And Whittle's down at the 24-yard line. Skip Hicks tying the game at 24 apiece with 1:21 to play in the period. The Bruins, as we mentioned, are a second-half ball club. And a huge third quarter last week against BYU, scoring 17 points. And they've come back to score 14 here. Grazziani's going to pass. Going downtown. Complete at the 27-yard line to Hodge. Back at you. You want big plays? Hey, Tony Grazziani says we got some stuff too.
And this is an offense that desperately needed a big play. A perfect throw by Tony Grazziani to Jabbar Hodge. Watch the play action now. They're going to fake the counter, roll out. He's got his lead blocker, Malapai, with him, and he's throwing back to across the field on the post pattern. You can't throw the post any better than that. It's a perfect throw on Teddy Lawrence. You see that Grazziani paid for it, but I'll tell you, those don't hurt nearly as bad when you know that you made a completion downfield.
First and 10 from the 28-yard line. On the ground, down to the 23-yard line. That's Ricky Whittle. Larry Atkins making the tackle. Whittle, the number 2 rusher last year on the team, 8th on the all-time school list. And Dean Blevins has a comment. Dean?
Guys, a moment ago, Coach Belotti was upbeat meeting on the sidelines with Whittle after the fumble led to that Bruins touchdown. He said, hey, I need you to stay focused. We're going to give you plenty of carries.
Yeah, last week, Dean, he had 2 fumbles against Illinois. And another one here. Split backs. Flag down. It's a dead ball.
The penalty will back him up 5 more yards.
Ball start. Offense. 5 yards. Repeat second down.
They've been pretty disciplined.
They had over 100 yards worth of penalties in their first game against Utah, and that, as much as anything, kept Utah in that football game. They've done a much better job in their next 2 ball games in that category.
Hodges split to the bottom of your screen on the option. Grazziani keeps it himself. He can run a little option football too. He's down to the 23-yard line, tackled by Kurski. And that is the last play of the third quarter. A third quarter that was all Bruin blue and gold. We'll return with more action between Oregon and UCLA after this message and a word from our ABC station. Right now it's time for the UCLA defense to answer the Oregon offensive surge. Whittle and Jelks split behind Grazziani. Lots of scoring in this game and lots of scoring in the SEC. This is Jelks. The big fella is on the loose. Jelks with a first down at the 43-yard line.
I'll tell you what, AJ Jelks, we've talked about him a lot in this ball game. He was an inside linebacker last year. Didn't even play offense. They switched him to fullback this season, and it looks to be a tremendous move by Mike Belotti and his staff, putting him at the fullback.
Whittle, the tailback, getting the carry this time out to the 40-yard line. Gain of about 2. There have been a litany of injuries for UCLA all season, a couple today. Dean?
Well, the linebacker injury to Donnie Edwards, of course, has been the key one for the Bruins. He will not play. We'll continue to look into that to see what definitive word we can get on his injury. But we do know that Philip Ward, of course, is back out there, number 97. But he's playing with a first-degree AC separation of his right shoulder.
I don't care what letters they are. It's not good.
Yeah, and we should mention also the starting center for Oregon, Mark Gregg, out of the ballgame in street clothes right now. Kyle Strait, the backup center, has been in for the entire second half to this point.
8.5 minutes to play. Whittle seems to be turning into a game of ball control maybe now for Oregon, running it very effectively. Sean Williams, the safety, making the tackle.
This Oregon team is really showing me something, Mark. I mean, they had a great season last year, a magical season up in Eugene, winning the Pac-10 and going to the Rose Bowl. But and they snuck up on a lot of people last year, but I think this team is better than last year's team, and no disrespect to last year's team or Danny O'Neil or anybody, because they had a great season. I think this is a better overall football team than they put on the field last year, and they are certainly a team to be reckoned with in the Pac-10.
And let's give credit, Todd, to Mike Belotti, who comes in here as the new head coach and has assembled a new staff, brought a lot of new people into the program, and they have not skipped a beat. A perfect 2-0 coming in, and threatening to go 3-0. Whittle down to the 27-yard line, tackled by Abdul McCullough. Top tackler for the Bruins after 2 games this season.
Well, Abdul McCullough is 202 pounds, but he plays bigger than that because he's a tough kid, but that's a great block by the fullback, AJ Jelks. Now, McCullough still gets in on the tackle, but it was about 6 yards or 5 yards down the field, so a good play by Abdul McCullough, taking on the block of big AJ Jelks.
Clock now the enemy of the UCLA Bruins. 7:26 to play. Look at the total yardage for the respective teams. This is Whittle, keeping it in the middle of the field, down to the 24-yard line. Whittle. And another Bruin player down on the field. That's number 27, Ted Wilkie. Well, Todd, when everyone talked about the prognostications in the Pac-10, it was USC that got the cover of a certain magazine, Sports Illustrated. Nobody talked about the Oregon Ducks, but it's 3rd and 1 now for them. If they convert this, it's going to look tough for UCLA.
Yeah, one of the only guys that said, hey, don't forget Oregon or don't overlook Oregon was Terry Donahue, the head coach of UCLA. He thought they were the best team coming back. They were the defending champions, and they're still champions until someone beats them.
Split backs. Jelks, the fullback. Whittle, the tailback. Grazziani keeps it and throws it to Jelks. Did he make it? I'm not sure. I don't think so. We'll wait and see, though. Jelks met right away by Abdul McCullough. UCLA holding on 3rd down. What do you do?
This is the difference between having a head coach who is a former offensive coordinator and one who's a former defensive coordinator. 4th and 1, this point in the ball game, you can ice the ball game with getting another touchdown or some more points. And Mike Belotti has said we're going for it on 4th down. Now, keep aware they may just try to go with a long count and try to draw UCLA off sides and get the easy 1st down. Let's watch and see if Grazziani tries to go with the long, hard count, maybe even use some motion to distract the UCLA defense.
This is it. And they put it on the ground. Miscommunication. The Bruins say they have it.
Comes away with it. Grady Stretz on the bottom of the pile. Comes out with the football.
An egregious error at the worst time for Oregon's offense, Todd.
Take a look now. Here's the football right there. You see it's on the ground right now. It never got cleanly exchanged between Kyle Strait and the quarterback Grazziani, and another turnover and a big play for the Bruin defense.
That's the 3rd turnover of the day for Oregon.
You can see when you're a quarterback and you put your hands in there, you want that snap to come up and hit your top hand. For Grazziani, it would be his left hand. You want it to pop up into the top hand. There was no pop on that snap. It was not a clean exchange.
Here's Jabbar trying the right side, gaining about 2 yards. That huge sigh came from all these UCLA fans.
We should mention, too, Mark, Cade McNown played his senior year of high school at West Lynn High School up in Oregon, and he was recruited by Oregon, but he grew up in California. Actually played at San Benito High School in Hollister, California his first 3 years, and then went to West Lynn. And he was recruited by Oregon, but actually Oregon very happy with the freshman quarterback they got, a guy named Justin Wilcox, the younger brother of tight end Josh Wilcox. So he was the most highly recruited quarterback out of the state last year, going to Oregon.
An opportunity for McNown to answer on the flanker screen. Completes the pass to McLemore. McLemore making his way down to the 29-yard line. It'll set up 3rd down and about 3 to go. Critical juncture for UCLA offensively here. Terry Donahue drawing on his 20 years of head coaching experience this afternoon. Facing a lot of adversity with injuries. And using a freshman quarterback. The pass is complete for the 1st down. Kevin Jordan, Mr. Clutch for the Bruins, makes the catch.
Yeah, he's been pretty quiet today, but he makes the plays when they need it. Oregon was thinking run. UCLA was in more of a run formation, and they went with the quick throw to Jordan for the 1st down. Good call by Bob Toledo.
First down, ball at the 33 with 5:04 to play in the game. Bruins trailing by a touchdown. Play action. McNown escapes one would-be tackler and fires incomplete at midfield for Eric Scott. Downstairs to Dean Blevins.
Guys, we have an injury that may be significant for Oregon. Cornerback Kenny Wheaton's a very good player, number 20. He has an elbow problem. They have him taped up like a mummy. They don't know if he'll return or not, but right now Lamont Woods, 11, is in on the corner. UCLA hasn't attacked that corner, but we'll keep an eye on that.
Thought in fairness to number 20, Kenny Wheaton, the injured player, Woods, that guy right there, they don't lose much with him. Another one of the good cover guys.
Yeah, he's an excellent cover guy, but Kenny Wheaton, very similar to Donnie Edwards and what he means to the UCLA defense. Kenny Wheaton is a guy who makes big plays, as we see Cade McNown needs to take a timeout. Interesting situation, too. They had the timeout, and on the sideline, they called a play with 2 tight ends, and as soon as they got in the huddle, they put a 3rd wide receiver in, so they changed the play.
And they hand it off to Jabbar, and Jeremy Asher says, I know that one. It'll be 3rd down and long. Jeremy Asher, he still should be saying.
Well, the key to being a good inside linebacker is to be able to read and react very quickly, and that's what Jeremy Asher does. He reads the play, he diagnoses it, and then he reacts very quickly and flies to the football. And once he gets there, he usually makes good tackles. So that's why he has 18 tackles in a ball game. He reads things, he has great speed getting to the football, and he's a very sure tackler once he gets to the spot.
And he has earned some more all-conference votes this afternoon. 3rd down and 10. McNown has time, has Jordan. First down and then some. Jordan almost broke it. He's brought down at the 29-yard line by the guy they just brought in defensively for Oregon, Lamont Woods, and they went to work on him right away.
Well, Lamont Woods is going to be in single coverage. You'd think maybe they'd give him a little help with the safety, but he's bump and run man-to-man, and you see he's got outside position as if he thinks he has inside help, and Kevin Jordan runs the perfect pattern against that technique. Outside technique, if you're running an inside route, a post route, you've got great position, and that was a perfect throw and catch. McNown to Jordan on that one.
And look who's coming back into the game, Wheaton. Taking over his corner spot. They run the counter, trail, reverse to Ayers. We were looking for it, and here it is. McNown leading the way blocking. The quarterback throws a key block, and touchdown UCLA.
Well-conceived play. They're going to fake the counter trap. They're going to pull the guard and tackle, and Oregon's going to read the counter. They give it to the halfback, but it's not the counter, it's the reverse. Now watch the quarterback down leading the play. They lead with the center, and the quarterback gets the key block on Kenny Wheaton, who just came back in the ball game. Big play for the touchdown for UCLA.
Cade McNown should take a bow on that play, as he threw the key block near the end of that run to spring Ayers loose. Did it last week against UCLA, and you said quarterbacks can't block. Take a look at Mr. Tough Guy. We'll be right back. It's 31 apiece. Todd, how many blocks have you thrown like this?
Well, I've thrown a few, but you can see Cade McNown gets perfect position on Kenny Wheaton, and Ayers does a nice job there by waiting until the block is made, just kind of holding off and then stepping into the end zone.
That touchdown was the first points that Oregon has given up in the 4th quarter this year. This is Ricky Whittle. Oh, people are flying around. Whittle upended.
Big play on the special teams by Tompkins, up and over the top, but fortunately for Whittle, came down fairly softly on his derriere there.
Don't want to land that way too often, though. 31 apiece with 3:48 to play. UCLA has responded here in the second half after trailing going into the locker room. This is Jelks, the fullback. Brought down after a gain of about 2 yards. And a look at our Chevrolet players of the game. Tony Grazziani for Oregon and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the UCLA Bruins. But still some valuable plays to be made.
You know, Mark, one of the good things for Oregon in this situation, if they get into a 2-minute hurry-up type situation, this is a good crowd here today, but because the stadium is so big and the fans are so far away from the field, I don't think noise will be a real factor trying to call the plays and running a 2-minute offense. That works in the favor of Oregon here at the end of the ball game.
Play action, Grazziani passing complete to Hodge. Hodge has been a key factor for Oregon offensively. He was covered by Teddy Lawrence.
Hey guys, on the sideline, Danny O'Neal, last year's star quarterback, was counseling Grazziani and asking what he told him. He said it was a horrible feeling after fumbling that snap, but you got to make that transition and come back and make the plays.
Whittle, Dean, with a nice stiff arm to gain about 7 yards after the initial contact. Because it's another Oregon first down with 2:51 to play. A 15-yard pickup for Ricky Whittle.
Good look at Cade McNown again on the sidelines, getting a lot of on-the-job training today here in the Rose Bowl. I mean, he's not going to be in any more exciting games than this one. 31-31 with 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. And he has really held his own. You know, when they took him out there in the first half, they let him calm down and relax. He's played very well in the second half for the Bruins.
A good move by the UCLA coaches to let him get a look at things. There's the counter. Whittle. They're going to their main workhorse, Ricky Whittle, who a couple of weeks ago carried the ball 30 times.
We mentioned at the top of the show, one of the keys is the special teams. Who would have an advantage or create an advantage in the special teams? And we mentioned Joshua Smith, the freshman kicker for Oregon. He's probably never been in a bigger situation like this. If you have to give someone an edge, it would go to UCLA's Bjorn Merton in terms of having to kick a game-winning field goal at the end of the ball game.
UCLA coming with pressure. Grazziani looking for McLemore. He's got it down at the 3-yard line. He's their Mr. Clutch, and he made a nice catch. No question who Grazziani was looking for that time.
Tony Grazziani really froze him with the pump fake, and watch the move by McLemore. He's been quiet, but he showed up on this play. Little stutter step to the outside and froze Javelin Guidry right there, and a perfect throw over the shoulder by Tony Grazziani. What a perfectly set up play. Sometimes a receiver gets in a hurry to make that fake. He doesn't really let the guy bite on it, but McLemore, a great sense of timing on that play. Gave him the outside little head fake and stutter step and ran right by him for the big play.
And that had to be jelly because jam doesn't shake like that. McLemore with a great move, and here's Ricky Whittle down to the 3-yard line with 1:12 to play in the game.
I think a critical thing right here for Oregon also is they've got to make sure that Kyle Strait makes good snaps here inside the 5-yard line, because with the goal line defense coming in for UCLA, they'll put somebody right over the nose of the center, and he's got to make sure he makes a good snap first and foremost, because you don't want to bobble the snap in here when you're running your goal line offense.
And the reason we bring that up is because Mark Gregg, the starting center, is now in his street clothes. He was injured in the first half, and Strait came in and has filled that role since that time. There's a look at the place kicker we were talking about moments ago, Joshua Smith from Colorado Springs, Colorado. As we mentioned, hey, he was sitting down watching The Simpsons or something, or maybe a little Monday Night Football when he got the call from the coaching staff at Oregon.
You see why he's smiling? You know why he's smiling right there? Because he knows with the ball on the 5-yard line, he's got a real good chance of only having to kick an extra point and not a field goal. That's why he's got a big smile. They were out on around the 25-yard line with 1:10. He'd be pacing up and down and
kicking
have a very
pensive,
kicking into the net with a pensive look. But with the ball inside the 5, he's saying, man, I think I can make the extra point.
Hey, the knee looked good on this play.
Well, McLemore did his part. Now watch Grazziani. The pump fake, that helped to freeze the defender, and then McLemore runs right by him, and you can't make that throw any better than Grazziani did.
That 42-yard play set the table for Oregon, who now has the ball on the 3. The waggle. Grazziani still looking. Almost picked off. A dangerous throw by Grazziani. Didn't use good judgment that time. He was looking for Wilcox, and it's 3rd down and goal with 1:06 to play. Wokey breaking it up.
Take a look at Grazziani now. He's pretty much made good decisions. He does a nice job eluding the pressure right here, but anytime you're rolling one way and try to throw it back the other way, you're throwing it right back to where all the defenders are, and he's very lucky that something bad didn't happen to him right there.
Here we go. Ball on the 3.5, 3rd and goal.
Watch for a little pick play here. You got 2 receivers out to the wide. A little pick play coming to this side of the field.
McLemore in the slot. They look for McLemore. Who else did you think was going to get it? Touchdown, Oregon. Staph infection or not, his infection is the bane of UCLA.
Well, they had the pick play. The inside receiver broke to the outside. The outside receiver picked off the defender. McLemore makes the catch, 1 foot down. A great athletic catch and getting his foot down by Christian McLemore. When they needed him to show up, he shows up and makes 2 great plays.
It's almost as if McLemore was saying, guys, just call me when you need me. With great athletic background in his family, too. His Uncle Mark plays for the California Angels. 4th on Oregon's all-time receiving list, and a big play here.
Everybody runs their version of the pick play. When they brought the 2 wide receivers out there, they got a nice pick on the inside coverage. Abdul McCullough was late getting out off the pick to make the play, and a nice throw and catch. Grazziani to McLemore. And again, not to take anything away from UCLA, but there is something special about this Oregon team. The battle back, they've done it all season. They've had to play catch up in their first 2 wins against Utah. Against Illinois, they were behind 31-20 at one point in that ball game in the second half last week and came back to win 34-31. And whenever they've had to respond, when UCLA has challenged them and come after them, they have responded and answered every time. Nice shot there, Danny O'Neal.
The past and the present of Oregon football, huh?
Yeah. You know, more on McLemore. He missed some practice time this week because of the staph infection in his knee, but in addition to that, he hurt his back in the preseason lifting weights and didn't start the first 2 games. So even though he's their go-to receiver, he has yet to start a game this year for Oregon. He's battled injuries pretty much his whole career, but when he's healthy, he's as good a receiver as there is in the Pac-10. He's a guy who just makes big plays. His only problem has been he's had a lot of trouble staying healthy for a whole season.
You're around this Oregon team, the coaches, the players, the fans, you just get the feeling that they count on the big play, the clutch play, when they need it.
It's interesting. When we were at UCLA's practice on Thursday, I noticed something. They had a big sign on their practice field on the fence that said, "Players make plays." And we have seen a fine testament to that today on both sides of the field. Great players make great plays when you need them.
This is McLemore. Needs to get out of bounds, and he does at the 17-yard line. And for Oregon's coach, Mike Belotti, or boy, you know, you can't think of a better script for him in his opener, Pac-10 opener. Only one coach, Tex Oliver, in 1938 has defeated UCLA in their rookie season.
Well, he succeeds Rich Brooks, who, by the way, is off to a great start as the Rams coach. His team is undefeated at 2-0 as well. But as you mentioned, a great start for Mike Belotti. Now, UCLA, they had a penalty on the return, so that sets them back inside the 10. And worse than that, with 57 seconds left in the ballgame, they only have 1 timeout left. Cade McNown had to use a couple timeouts earlier in the half, and so they're down to 1 timeout with 95 yards to go.
I'm not even sure that the old Skip Hicks surprise play will work here. McNown gets it to Jabbar in the flat, and he's pushed out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Oregon on the verge of improving to 3-0 on the season and 1-0 in the always tough Pac-10.
And an interesting thing about Oregon and why they have a real good chance to repeat this year, they don't play USC. Every team in the conference takes a 2-year hiatus. That's why they haven't played UCLA for 2 seasons. Well, this year, it's USC that doesn't show up on Oregon's schedule. So this is a huge stepping stone for the Oregon Ducks.
McNown going downtown, has a man at midfield complete at the 48. That stops the clock with 44 seconds to go. Don't go anywhere.
McNown made a great throw under pressure. He was being sacked as he made this throw and still showed the strength of his arm to get the ball all the way down the field. Now, they're able to save their timeout because in college football, the clock stops until they set the change, so they can hold on to that timeout for as long as they need it.
A 37-yard pickup by Derek Ayers on the catch. McNown looking up top again, double coverage. It's complete! Oh, do you believe that? Kevin Jordan. The ball's at the 3 with 33 seconds to go.
What a perfect throw by Cade McNown against double coverage. They've been double covering Kevin Jordan for most of the afternoon. McNown puts this ball right on the money. Look at it. In between 2 defenders, there's only one place that ball can go for a completion, and it went to the right spot. In between double coverage, Lamont Woods beaten again on the play.
The clock running with 28 seconds to play. The ball on the 3-yard line. UCLA with 1 timeout remaining. That's out of the eye. They run the option. The freshman is stopped up at about the 2-yard line.
They're going to call timeout now. They've got to use the timeout here with 12 seconds left.
They trail by a touchdown, 38-31, but 2 big plays, one by Ayers and one by Jordan, 37 and 46 yards respectively to set the table.
And McNown has really not thrown the ball much at all in the second half, but when he's had to make the throws, you can't make 2 better throws than that. Watch 2 plays ago. Okay, this is the first pass. Watch the perfect throw that McNown makes here under pressure. He's going to get hit as he throws it and still makes the perfect over-the-shoulder throw for the big play, beating the man-to-man coverage in the blitz. I mean, 2 great throws in a row by Cade McNown, 37 yards and 46 yards, and now they're knocking on the door.
And of course, we saw McLemore for Oregon. Here we see Jordan, the other big play receiver. Jordan picking up 46 on this one.
Okay, here's the situation now with 2nd down and 2. You can either run a play-action pass or some kind of throw where you throw it in the end zone. If it's incomplete, you stop the clock. Or you can run a running play, and if you don't get in, you've got to line your team up and kill the clock. You can do that in college football now. UCLA lining up in a shotgun situation, and Oregon, after seeing the formation, they called the timeout.
Dean Blevins, what's up on the field?
Well, offensive coordinator Bob Toledo and Terry Donahue in the middle of the huddle, of course, with the squad a moment ago. And Terry spent his time talking to his rookie quarterback, trying to keep him calmed down and telling him that there were 2 plays. So don't get carried away with the fact that there are no timeouts and time's running down, as Toledo was talking about moving the ball from hash mark to hash mark. And I'll try to eavesdrop again if I don't get kicked out.
You know, Dean, they have a great 2-minute play that we watched them work on Thursday. If
Right.
they get into that situation, it's a 4 wide receiver set with the shotgun, and they run the quarterback on a quarterback trap behind Jonathan Ogden. The interesting question now is, do they use that play right now and try to score the touchdown with it, or do they save it and use it for the 2-point play in the win?
Well, that's exactly what Bob Toledo and Terry Donahue are probably thinking through right now. They're mulling that over. 12 seconds to play. UCLA, boy, when it looked like they were really out of it, you know, there was a penalty after the kickoff that sent the ball back to inside their own 5-yard line. Three wideouts. McNown rolling out into the end zone, incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
Good pressure that time by Troy Bailey, number 56. He forced the errant throw. A little tough when you're a left-handed quarterback to roll out to the right and make that throw. Good pressure that time by Troy Bailey. I think if UCLA scores, they'll go for 2. I think they'll go for the win, even though they've got a freshman quarterback. That they worked on that 2-point play several times, probably about a half a dozen times against every different look they could expect from the Oregon defense. It's a well-designed play.
Ayers coming into the game. He sets up slot right. He has 2 touchdowns already today. They run the pick play, and they throw to Jabbar out of the backfield, incomplete, stopping the clock with 4 seconds to go.
They're down to 1 play now, 4th and 2, and they really have not looked good on those last 2 plays. Mark, I really will not be surprised if they go to that 2-point play right now and use the quarterback trap, because they have not been able to get a good-looking throw on the last 2 plays.
Hey, when you've got Jonathan Ogden and all of his 6'8", 305 pounds, why not use him?
Might be option. Quarterback is under the center.
This is it. They hand it off to Jabbar. Can he get there? Did he get there? No signal. That's it. It's over. Oregon's defense responds, and they shut down UCLA to win the ball game. What an ending. They ran to the left side, the strength of their formation, and didn't make it.
Well, they went behind their horse. Jonathan Ogden in the left guard, Christensen, and a great play right by the goal line. That's the nose tackle, Desmond Byrd, number 99, who flowed down the line of scrimmage and made the play. Watch the play at the end. Lamont Woods, number 11, the cornerback who'd given up a couple plays, he was there to make the first stick. Excellent team defense by Oregon at the end of the play. Desmond Byrd, Jaya Figueres, both in there on the play.
So symbolic of the Oregon Ducks. Gang green. That is their signature. And they won the game just that way. Mutual respect from both sides. Oregon winning a thriller in the Pac-10 debut of their head coach, Belotti.